What's up with the squad? Back with another video. I seen this title was going out. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all seen the title. It says Michelle Obama just scolded an American man for being the reason she won't run for president. I know I said she. I know y'all gonna be in the comments grilling me. Said we got and Michelle Obama said we've got a lot of growing up to do. A lot of men don't feel like they can be led by a woman. Says men aren't the problem. The left's constant shaming and bullying of men is. And let me tell y'all something. I've said this before. Y'all know that my dad is and he say that he's, an independent leaning Democrat. Regardless, that Democrat, And I just feel as if, and I seen this post and that immediately, had that thought like, you know what? There are men that would actually, vote, for Michelle Obama. There are, and it's something that, to be expected. Just as well as, men did for Kamala. There were some men, that did that. But there were a lot of men that actually had that common sense and voted for somebody that actually, is great for America. And y'all already know who that is. And doing a really, really great job, doing everything he can. I'm telling y'all, everything he can. Even before stepping foot in the White House. So I played this video before. If y'all didn't check this video out, y'all can go check it out. Colin Rugg actually posted this, and I posted this a couple days ago. But I want to read this, to y'all. Tracy Ellis Ross. This is Michelle Obama and Tracy Ellis Ross. She is currently, doing a book tour, and honestly, the whole book, from my understanding, is very what's the word that I can put this? I feel like it's. Because I don't want to say the wrong word. Y'all know I always get in trouble. But I feel like it's a book of just in a way. I just feel like it's corny, it's lame, and a disgusting. The way that Michelle Obama is putting it. And many other people obviously probably think, a different way. But me personally, I just feel like it's definitely I don't like it. I truly don't. Just seeing it and seeing how, the things that, and I'm going to show y'all the things that Michelle Obama is, talking about and how, she's putting things. I truly don't like it. But Tracy Ellis Ross asks, do you think that impacts, the room we made for a woman to be president? Obama responded, said, don't even look at me about running because you are lying. You're not ready for a woman. So don't waste my time. We got a lot of growing up to do. And this is more so, I'm not even going to lie. This is more so, it had a lot to do with, obviously, Kamala. People seeing the outcome, of it. And my thing is that regardless, and people will say this all the time, they use this excuse. That Kamala didn't have a long time to run. I feel like even if Kamala had years, to campaign, it wouldn't have gotten her anywhere. Because, and this is not to shoot anybody down, it's just a simple fact of like, I feel like it wouldn't have gotten her anywhere because of the way that they put things. It was a lot of lies, a lot of paid, supporters. A lot of paid everything, about it just to get an individual or, to do something, to show that fake support, and the fake accents and just everything about that campaign was fake. It was nothing authentic about it, and I feel like that's what made it worse, even though, forgetting about all of that, I still didn't see, much coming from Kamala, at all. This is the 5. Post from the 5 says Michelle Obama says Americans need to grow up because we aren't ready for a woman president. Check it out.
I just hope that one day we can stop disappointing Michelle and Barack Obama. We've been such a disappointment to them for so long. I was sad to hear this because every single day of that 107-day campaign, I looked for something to compliment. I was looking for a way to go, wow, Kamala Harris, dang, that was a good point. Mm-hmm. Well said. Yeah. Amazing. Wow, interesting policy. Wow. Never once did I get the opportunity on the merits to do that. And I feel like it's insulting. Give us someone to root for. Yeah. Give us somebody who isn't on the wrong side of every issue. And that wasn't just for men. I mean, she was wrong side of the border, on crime, on education, and certainly on Biden's unpopularity. She couldn't even say one thing about how she would be different from Biden. And let me give you another example. Abigail Spanberger, sorry, I'm bringing it up again.
And then tried to backtrack, remember when Kamala went on The View and they asked, I think it was Sunny Hostin that asked, what would you do or what would you have done? Something like that, differently than Biden, or what would you change or something like that? And literally nothing. I mean, and I feel like that right there, that's definitely was something that, and I know y'all might agree, I might disagree. I feel like that's something that definitely put a huge impact on, how people felt the way, like, well, I don't, especially, and I don't want to make this sound bad at all. I truly don't want this to sound bad whatsoever. But people got to realize this, and I don't want to make anything about race. Y'all know I don't make anything about race, but just think about it for a second. And I pray that y'all actually feel me on this. Kamala played that part. Y'all know how she kept on saying that she's black, she's black, she's black. They played that, right? There were so many individuals that was looking at that. So when you have those individuals that obviously is paying attention to Kamala, paying attention and watching The View, and they see that Sunny Hostin, another person, claiming, how she grew up, she's black, this, that, and the other, asking another so-called black woman that they, are, obviously supporting. What would you change, from Biden, a white man, obviously, and again, I don't want y'all to take this the wrong way, but just putting some, just making it make sense, trying to think how they think. They looking at the simple fact, she said nothing. Why is she saying nothing? So I feel like that right there put a huge impact and it made a huge decrease in, her votes as well. And that's, again, I don't like bringing that stuff up, but I'm just trying to, make it make sense, because there are a lot of people that obviously was following that wave. And then I heard, from individuals that's, in my family or, and then, that same video went everywhere. And seeing that, it kind of, I definitely feel like it put some type of impact, a horrible impact on her campaign, a lot, just by that question. Although, the fakeness and the fake accents, of course, but definitely.
This is a person who was, how many, 14 points ahead in the polls when Jay Jones' text came out that he wanted to murder the opposition leader. She couldn't even distance herself from him. She didn't have the wherewithal and the strength and the courage and the bravery to say, not in our party, out. She still would have won. Yeah. But she was not able to do that. You have to look at somebody like the new prime minister of Japan and say, wow, now that woman is impressive. She is tough. The Chinese just said that they would bash her head against the Great Wall of China for supporting Taiwan. And she's didn't even blink. Like, give America, men and women, someone to root for regardless of gender. I just hope.
And honestly, I truly love that. I truly love that. However you put it, I just feel like there's more to it. Just what she's saying right here. Just given that, I'm strong, I'm gonna make it happen. Showing people, what you actually about. And I feel like that's why so many people, and why I myself, I can't speak for everybody else, but I tell y'all, I myself love, what about, President Trump, is that he's real. He's real. He tells you straight off the dome, how he feels. And people always say, oh, well, he shouldn't have done this. He shouldn't have said that in the White House. He shouldn't have said this. Oh, he cursed. Oh, he said this. Man, I'd rather have that than somebody that's being fake. Me personally, I'd rather have that than somebody being fake. And that's just how I feel. I'm telling y'all. Check it out, Glenn Beck.
Michelle Obama turned down the presidency. She's like, no.
We ain't ready. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running, because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not. So don't waste my time You know, we got a lot of growing up to do. And there's still, sadly, a lot of men who do not feel like they can be led by a woman, and we saw it.
No, we didn't want to be led by an incompetent woman.
Exactly.
Nor would we want to be led by a woman who just lectures us about how bad we are all the time. Everyone is created equal. It doesn't mean you have equal abilities and talents. It's not a woman. It's that one. Are you kidding me? No. And the one you proposed last time was Hillary Clinton, and she almost won. And now it didn't have anything to do with her being a woman. That had a lot to do with, I don't trust her, probably kind of corrupt. And like you, she lectures people all the time.
You're not ready because I'm a woman and I'm black. Like, that has nothing to do with why
you're sexist or you're racist.
Yeah, and I truly feel as if that's what I'm talking about with it. That's what I'm talking about. It's always that race, bringing in that race, that race all the time, and that's not really going to get you anywhere. Speaking like that, speak to the American people. I feel like that's such an important thing. Ever since doing these videos, I've always thought, just speak to the American people. Try not to obviously let people know who you are, where you're from, where you're coming from, but have that relationship, have that that balance, of with the American people. And I feel like that'll play a really, really big part. Instead of saying, oh, well, I grew up poor and I grew up just like you, and oh, well, I truly feel as if, black this, and oh, I'm a female. Just a lot of that is not going to work. A lot of that is not going to work whatsoever. If they notice and make sense out of it, y'all see President Trump didn't do any of that. Truly. I'm telling y'all. More from Fox News.
I don't know. I'm just stuck on the fact that she thinks that apparently if Kamala couldn't do something, then no woman could.
Yes. It's insulting.
I do find it personally insulting, yes.
Yeah.
Because, okay, sexism is a thing. That was not Kamala's thing. That was not the reason that Kamala was not elected. Mm-hmm. I mean, she could not have had more behind her to try to make this work. Remember, as soon as she was announced, everyone was like, let's go. And she just couldn't articulate the reason she was different from Biden or really much of anything at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was the reason.
She raised $1 billion. $1 billion she raised. They were pretty ready for her.
Yeah, no, it's
Definitely.
crazy.
And I can't take. That's something that I'm not going to take away. That there weren't just nobody that was, ready or supporting Kamala, because there were people that actually, did. I even know people that actually did. But at the same time, there were a lot more of others who truly, truly, truly did not trust what Kamala was about, just based off of the lies, the fakeness that was put out so many times. Nobody don't want that. Even within the debates, even within, things coming out, oh, Kamala's listening to such and such. So there's so many things that play in a part of obviously why Kamala lost. I'm telling y'all. Check it out.
Does anybody doubt right now as we sit here on this day, November 17th, 2025, that if Michelle Obama came out today and said, I'm going to be the Democratic nominee, I aspire to be the Democratic nominee for the presidency of the United States of America, who would beat her? It's going to be Josh Shapiro? It's going to be Gavin Newsom? It's going to be Governor Beshear in Kentucky? Who do the Democrats have that could compete with Michelle Obama? What do you mean the country isn't ready? The country isn't ready, so you'd lose to J.D. Vance? Really? Or you couldn't have a chance to beat Marco Rubio, who I think is the best candidate the Republicans have for the presidency? Because Trump ain't circumventing the 22nd Amendment and is going to be ready to be able to run for a third term. So if Michelle Obama is really, really serious about what she's saying, she's also arguably seriously false. Because I believe she'd cakewalk to the Democratic nomination. And I believe she could win it all. Do you want it? Can't knock you if you don't. You're the first lady. You had experiences at the White House that most wouldn't have. You would know better than most of us. But the bottom line is, if that's the case, then say so. Don't look at this country and point to men and act like we wouldn't vote for you. Yes, we would. Yes, we would. There's plenty of men that I know that will vote for Michelle Obama.
I wouldn't,
And
but
can't
I
imagine
agree. They
any
are.
Democrat who wouldn't. Class personified, educated, smart, excellent orator. The first man who would be the first man in American history also happens to be the former president who has a similar reputation. By her side, run, Michelle, run. Run.
And me personally, I could definitely say that I truly, truly, truly feel what Stephen A. Smith was saying, because there should be no excuse whatsoever. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm trying to make sure we actually had a person that was looking through our garage, so I'm just making sure all the cameras, y'all see me looking down. But you literally had there should be no excuses whatsoever. It should be no excuses because of the simple fact that, like Stephen A. Smith said, been in the White House. There are individuals that I obviously still support Michelle Obama. Like I've said recently, even I made the statement recently, even when I mentioned my grandmother, and my grandmother asked something about Michelle Obama, and it's stuff like that. It's truly stuff like that, and that's what people aren't getting. There should be no excuses. What is Stephen A. Smith saying? There's obviously using that excuse because Michelle Obama knows that there's a huge chance she won't win, just based off of how strong, how put together the Republican Party is. Nobody can't tell me who the face of the Democratic Party is. I'm telling y'all, nobody whatsoever. Definitely. This is a post by, and I apologize if I said his name wrong, but Damani Felder. Y'all can check this out at the Damani Felder. Says someone needs to tell Michelle Obama to stop talking. Check it out.
Can someone please tell Michelle Obama to stop talking? Not because she's black, not because she's a woman, but because she says some of the craziest, dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. She's out here literally on some speaking circuit talking about how, black people are oppressed and how, growing up, if you wore the wrong clothes as a black person, then white people could actually take your life. And, the reason that we can't reach our full potential, is because, black people's hair standards are different, this or that. I'm so tired of it. So tired of it. Michelle, you've got many properties. You're worth multi-millions of dollars, right? You do not have the foggiest clue what it actually means to struggle here in America in 2025. So why are you going out of your way trying to act like you understand the plight of the most disadvantaged? See, y'all do this all the time, right? You try to use some unifying characteristic, the color of your skin, and you pretend that has some sort of bearing on someone's experience in America, not recognizing or acknowledging that there are people who do have melanin in their skin, who litter the socioeconomic spectrum. So miss me with that. And we honestly are so tired of the divisiveness that you and your husband have caused over these past several decades at this point. So please, for the love of all that is good, pure, true, and holy, stop talking, please.
And all that he said is true. It's truly true. You have Michelle Obama here. Says Michelle Obama claims to be beautiful because she's black. She's not beautiful, and it has nothing to do with skin color. It truly doesn't. And one thing that I tell y'all, and I tell people this all the time, and I truly have this. I've always thought about this. I try to, be right, with everything. No matter the skin color, y'all. No matter how you look, you are beautiful. I'm a child of God, bro. I don't care about none of that. Quit listening to people. And especially, there's actually people, and I know this is really, truly bad to say. There are people out here that truly take this and run with it. Meaning they take this. There's people that take this that, since I'm black, I'm more beautiful than this person. Or there's people that, I'm not beautiful because this individual is black. So there are people that actually think about that. And I know y'all probably, I don't think so, but there are people that actually think like that. And it's definitely sad, especially coming from a person like this. Regardless of however you put it, I don't care, however you put it, there are people that actually support and love Michelle Obama. So there are people that are going to listen to Michelle Obama. And it's just sad. It's truly sad.
And we have to start educating people about all kinds of beauty.
Yes.
And our beauty is so powerful and so unique. that it is worthy of the conversation, and it's worthy of demanding the respect that we're owed for who we are and what we offer to the world.
So, the amount of, did she say the amount of the respect that we're owed? Okay, let me put it this way. One thing that I hate, I truly hate, is the simple fact, y'all. The simple fact that there are individuals that constantly put out so much BS about the color of your skin. And there's and this is by all means, I've said this. There isn't Michelle Obama. I always see these women talk, and they always say things like this. What gets on my nerves is that these women are obviously stars. It's people that actually look up to them. There's they're these different influencers, and you have these individuals, and what sucks about it is that they don't boost other women up. Just like Michelle Obama, this is mainly of black women, that women of color. And I feel like it's very nasty, it's very unnecessary that you have an individual like this, that don't boost, other women up. I see it on The View all the time. They bash other women. I've said this multiple times. The View is a show full of women. They shouldn't be doing nothing but uplifting women at the end of the day. I feel like that's something that The View, and they're obviously not going to do it, but just looking at all those women saying that's uplift other women. But again, you have this, and it's very disgusting. I'm telling you. And they wonder why things aren't going, as right. I'm telling y'all. Wonder why. It's Barack Obama. And people wonder, why. Literally wonder why. And honestly, I'm gonna say this, and I don't want, and I'm gonna have some haters in my comments. This is the exact reason, y'all. This is the exact reason on why the Democratic Party is where they're at right now. However anybody puts it, Barack has led the left down the drain. Truly.
He's going on podcasts to warn against the danger of Trump's Chicago military deployment.
So when you now start seeing the politicization of the military, deliberately, right?
We just landed in Chicago.
Yeah. When you see an administration suggest that ordinary street crime is an insurrection or a terrorist act. Yeah, that is a genuine effort to weaken how we have understood democracy.
I have no idea what he just said. We all just tuned out. That was the most. We had the longest
conversation
while he was talking. Totally. What is it about him? That guy? What is it?
Truly. Says here, Obama politicized every government agency for 8 years to go after Republicans. On the other hand, President Trump is trying to use resources at his disposal to help violent cities like Chicago. This is exactly why the Democratic Party has the lowest approval in history. I'm telling y'all. Definitely sickening. Definitely sickening. This is proof of what I'm talking about. When it comes to, Chicago, obviously. And I'm tired of people saying things, like this, especially having that. I feel like with these individuals, and we all know that they're not, like Barack Obama, people supporting him, this, that, and the other. He definitely should be a person that, step up and say, it does need, change when it comes to Chicago because it's pretty bad. But obviously he's not. Says here, parts of Chicago are more dangerous than wartime in Iraq. The homicide rate for young men is more than 1,200 for every 100,000 in many zip codes. J.B. Pritzker should be thanking President Trump and Texas for bringing law and order back to Chicago. Check it out.
This next statistic stopped me in my tracks today. Young men in some Chicago neighborhoods face an even more violent and deadly situation than U.S. troops did during the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's according to new research in the JAMA Medical Journal. They found the risk of a man between 18 and 29 being killed in a shooting in one of Chicago's most dangerous neighborhoods was higher than the death rate for U.S. soldiers in those wars. Now, here are some of the shocking numbers they found. In the Chicago zip code 60624, the homicide rate for young men is more than 1,200 for every 100,000 people. Now compare that to U.S. troops who were heavily engaged in combat in Iraq, where the death rate was just 675 for every 100,000 people.
This should be a wake-up call to a lot of people right here. This should definitely be a wake-up call. This would be something that people need to pay attention to. And that's why I love finding links and things like this, because it's definitely important. And y'all can go find this, Lance Gooden. Gooden. But when I tell y'all that it's definitely sad, you know, it definitely is sad, you know, that you even compare something like this, you know. I truly don't understand. I truly don't understand. It's definitely sickening. But one thing about it, like I always say, one thing that we can do is keep pushing, stay positive, and keep praying. Honestly, call it the 3 Ps. All you can do. Definitely important. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love to everybody. Catch y'all on the next one.